What is up, guys? As you can see, I am back with another Q&A video, and over the last week I've asked you guys on Facebook and Instagram to comment some questions and let me know what you want to know. And I got some interesting questions that I'm going to share my answers with you guys, and some more info and more updates and things that I'm working on. And yeah, we're just gonna vibe out, right? So let's dive into the first question on Instagram. Question number one: when did you start writing? I've gotten this question a lot and I've answered it a lot, but I started writing in high school. I believe I was a sophomore in high school, so 9 years ago, maybe 9 or so years ago. And it started very simple, like any other guy, like little love notes or journaling, and just putting down my feelings on paper. And then over the years, as I graduated high school and went into college, I kind of transitioned into poetry. And I didn't start writing poetry officially until I was a sophomore in college. So not that long that I've been writing poetry, about 5 years or so. So yeah, I started writing in high school. I started writing poetry in college. Question number two: what does poetry mean to you? What does poetry mean to me? Poetry, and if you know me, you know the answer to this. Poetry honestly means the world to me. It is everything that I am, and a lot of people that are close to me understand that I've dealt with a lot of closed-mindedness, and I bottle up a lot of emotions, and I'm very quiet and inward with a lot of things. And over the years, I've exploded in various situations and either hit things or yelled at people that didn't deserve it, or whatever you want to call it. And honestly, when I started writing poetry in particular, it was just a release for me. And honestly, I love it. It gives me a voice. You know, I don't have to feel like I have to hurt. I'm not hurting anybody's feelings when I say things, and I'm just put it on paper, right? It's just how I feel, and it's just what it is, right? So poetry to me means everything. It is my voice. It is my life. It is my my love, my passion. In the moments that I'm writing, I feel free. I don't feel, you know, it's everything, right? So that is what poetry means to me. Question number three: does listening to music ever spark a poem in you? If so, what songs? Yes. And depending on my mood, I do listen to music sometimes when I write, or I may sit in silence depending on my mood and depending on what I'm writing about or what the poem is about. But I do like to write to music sometimes to really help pull the emotion out of me. And in fact, my poem "You Ain't S-H-I-T," "You Ain't S-H-I-T" is I wrote that on an airplane coming home from California or Vegas, one of the two. And I was actually listening to Trey Songz. Believe it or not, when I wrote that song, wrote that poem, I was listening to Trey Songz, and just listening to his lyrics and him expressing his emotions. Everybody know how Trey Songz sings and what he talks about. And I was like, you know what? It was making me feel some type of way, so I pulled a story or a situation that I've gone through in my life, and I just wrote about it. And while listening to Trey Songz, right? What else? There's a couple other poems that I wrote listening to music. Yeah, it just depends on my mood, honestly. Does that emotion translate into the poem itself? So question number four is, does that emotion translate to the poem itself? So when I'm writing to music, yes. Again, it depends on what I'm writing about. So if I'm writing about something very emotional and I'm listening to a song that's talking about emotion, then of course that emotion is going to, you know, be in that poem and translate through that poem. But then there are cases where I'm listening to hip hop or something and I'm writing about something completely different. It's just music allows me to zone out and just feel what I'm writing and just really focus on what I'm writing. So it just depends. It depends on my mood, depends on what I'm writing about. And if the song has a direct relationship to the emotion that I'm trying to create in that poem, then of course it's going to translate through it in the end product. So that was a good question. Let's go to Facebook. Let me find the notification. how do you respond to writer's block? Question number 5, how do you respond to writer's block or not knowing what to write? Honestly, writer's block is something that I struggle with a lot, and especially lately. I can't take credit for this answer because I actually sat down in a writer's meet with a couple authors and different poets, and I was the youngest person in the room, in the circle, and we just having a conversation, bouncing ideas off each other. And I actually asked this question. I said, hey guys, you know, with me being the youngest author, the youngest poet, the youngest writer in this room, you know, I need some advice. How do you overcome writer's block? And they told me to just keep writing. So my response or my answer to this question is that I just keep writing. And I try to write through it. I try to write through the writer's block. I try to write through the frustration and through the disappointment in pieces. And I typically just try to start a new poem. And if I don't finish it or I can't think of how I want to, you know, where I want the message to go, then I just kind of set it aside and I start something new. And then lately with my poetry books, I've been changing my style a little bit, and I've been writing more so like poetry chapter books. So if I'm not writing a poem, then I try to focus on a different chapter or a different story or a different message or something like that. Or I may write a motivational quote or something for my Instagram or for my Facebook. So I just try to keep writing and writing through the frustration and through the writer's block. And then eventually something sparks for me and I finish a poem. And honestly, sometimes I sit on poetry for months. Like I'll start something and it just sit there unfinished for months. And then eventually I'll finish it and then, you know, share that with you guys when it's complete. So good question. Question number 6. And the final question is, do you ever feel unable to write out of fear? Yes and no. And do I ever feel unable to write out of fear? Yes and no. Yes, because I'm human and there's a natural nervousness that occurs when I'm sharing my writing with you guys. And I'm not sure if you're going to like my writing style. I'm not sure if you're going to like what I'm writing about necessarily. And so yes, I do feel a little afraid when it comes to that. And I've written pieces that are very controversial that I chose not to share for that reason, just because out of fear of the response of those that follow me and those that support me. But then again, I'm not afraid because, you know, this is my voice, this is my art, and I'm going to speak my mind and speak how I feel and speak out of love and honesty and you know, it's just what it is. So, but at the end of the day, I'm human, like I said. So I feel the exact same way that you guys feel. I go through the exact same stresses of life, the exact same emotions that a lot of you are going through now. I've gone through, and I do get afraid when it comes to sharing my writing, but I try to, you know, overcome that and push through it and still share with you guys, regardless of the unknown outcome of your responses or if you're even going to like what I have to say. So, but with that said, I do appreciate you guys a lot. I love you a lot because your responses and your feedback has been amazing, amazing, amazing. A lot of people don't get to see what I get to see, and some of the messages I get or comments that I get from people, and how they're telling me that my writing has helped them through various situations, and they always turn to poetry when they're feeling a certain type of way, and they, you know, when they see my videos and see my poetry, it really helps them. And I appreciate you guys for the love and for the support, and I'm going to continue to write and continue to share my story, my life, and my journey with you guys. And I hope that you continue to follow me through life, and you know, continue to love and support everything that I do, because I truly appreciate it. It means a lot. And I am showing that appreciation by giving you guys different things and just sharing everything with you, right? So yeah, so with that said, that is the end of this Q&A video. Again, I appreciate you guys for leaving questions, commenting your questions. If you did not get an opportunity to comment a question, make sure you put that in the comment section below underneath this video, and I'll answer it then. Talk with you a little bit and vibe out with you. If there's anything you want to know, just go ahead and ask me. I am also doing a couple updates really quick before I get out of here. My giveaway on YouTube is coming up very quickly in a couple weeks. So I will put a link to that video in the comment section below as well. So make sure you get in there. Make sure you leave a comment so you have the opportunity to win. And If you haven't signed up for my email list, make sure you do that. I'm also giving away a lot of free things through that. And yeah, follow me on Instagram if you're watching this on Facebook, and follow me on Facebook if you're watching this on Instagram. And yeah, I love you guys. Your voice is your signature. Don't ever forget that. And I'm out. Peace.